Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're digging into some really compelling, maybe even a bit unsettling ideas from Dr. Dennis V. Burke's Homo Machina, Becoming Machine.
Yeah, it's quite the read.
Yeah.
He essentially frames us, humanity, as this incredible evolutionary success story, but one with a potentially fatal flaw baked in our own intelligence.
Exactly. Our intelligence is our superpower, but maybe also our kryptonite. So our mission today is to unpack that how we Homo sapiens got here shaped the planet like no other species.
Right.
Our capacity for truly amazing things, but also maybe this chilling potential to engineer our own ending. And we'll try and see all this on a cosmic scale.
Which really puts things in perspective.
It does. Okay, let's unpack this. First off, our dominance. We're often called the pinnacle of Earth's evolutionary ladder. What actually gives us that status? What are these unique capabilities?
Well, it's not claws or speed, is it? Dr. Burke points straight to our minds, our intelligence, our complex language, this amazing ability for imagination. And we've used these tools to gain comprehensive control over our surroundings.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. We didn't just adapt to the environment. We bent it to our will. Farming, cities.
We reshaped the whole planet.
We really did. And we looked outwards, too, mapping the stars, figuring out the universe, then inwards, splitting the atom itself. And now we've wrapped the globe in digital connections.
Yeah.
No other species has even come close. Not in billions of years.
It's an incredible picture of power. But here's where, as you said, it gets unsettling. Dr. Burke argues this same genius, this creativity, is what threatens our survival. How does that work? It seems like a contradiction.
It really does. And he calls it this peculiar contradiction within us. Think about the logic we sometimes employ. We start wars to make peace. We kill in the name of justice. And maybe the most striking example, we invent these absolutely terrifying weapons, nuclear bombs, weapons of unimaginable devastation.
But the idea is not to use them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's supposedly for sovereignty, to make sure no one else dares attack us. He describes this whole situation as both genius and madness, preservation and peril, all coming from the same human mind.
Wow. There's a line in the book that really struck me. We are the only species that builds temples and bombs with the same hands. That just crystallizes the paradox.
It does. It captures that tension perfectly. And Burke traces this throughout our history, this long arc of fear, survival, ambition, and this constant urge to transcend our limits.
So technology isn't just neutral.
Not in how we use it, no. Every leap seems to carry this duality. Think about the journey from a sharpened stone basic survival tool, right, to precision-guided missiles.
A huge leap in lethality.
Absolutely. Or the written word. It can hold wisdom, transmit knowledge across generations, or becomes propaganda, disinformation.
Yeah, we see that all the time.
And the atom. Studied to understand nature's secrets, but then weaponized to obliterate cities. There's this underlying logic of violence that seems to persist. If I am stronger, I survive. If I strike first, I win. If I am feared, I am safe.
And we use our intelligence to build systems based on that logic.
Precisely. We build these incredibly complex systems of destruction, and we call it deterrence. It's about asserting power, sovereignty, but boy, it keeps us perpetually on the brink.
It really makes you stop and think. We Homo sapiens, we tend to feel permanent, like we're the final chapter. But looking at our family tree, the Homo lineage, what does that tell us?
Yeah, that feeling of permanence is probably an illusion. When you step back and look at the millions of years the Homo genus has been around, we're just the latest model.
Yeah.
The text reminds us of all the others, Homo habilis, Homo erectus, the Neanderthals, Homo floresiensis, the so-called hobbit, so many different human species.
Who were around for a long time, some of them.
For vast stretches of time. They were intelligent, they made tools, they adapted, they had cultures. But now, they're silent. Vanished.
Gone.
We only know them from bits of bone, stone tools, maybe some DNA fragments. And the sobering point Burke makes is, despite all their diverse adaptations, their intelligence, it was ultimately not enough.
So the question hangs there.
We alone endure. But for how long? It puts our own survival in a very different light. Intelligence alone isn't a guarantee.
If our own past suggests we might be fleeting, what about the future? Dr. Burke talks about Homo Machina. What is that? Is that the next step?
It seems to be the successor we're building. Homo Machina is defined in the book as the successor we are actively engineering. Basically, machines with cognitive power, decision-making abilities, maybe even sentience one day.
So AI and advanced robotics.
Exactly. Think about it. AI is already better than us at certain tasks. Automation is changing entire industries, the nature of work itself. Algorithms are influencing how we feel, what we buy, even who we vote for.
It's already happening.
It is. We're merging with machines, Burke argues, physically, cognitively, and socially. He paints this picture of a potential future where biology is optional, consciousness is digitized, and human vulnerability gets replaced by the cold logic of code.
Wow. That's a massive shift. If we start handing over thinking, feeling, memory to machines, like what remains of us? What's the potential cost here?
That's the core anxiety, isn't it? The book warns, in our search for security, we may surrender our sovereignty. In seeking control, we risk losing agency. It's about what this technology does to us, not just for us.
So it's not if we can do it, but should we?
Exactly. That's the crucial question. Should we become Homo bandit? What are we willing to pay? Remember those other Homo species intelligence didn't save them? Burke asks, what if in our brilliance we outwit ourselves? What if our tools for dominance become the tools of our own obsolescence?
That's heavy. And just when you think you're grappling with that, Burke zooms out even further, way out, to a cosmic scale. How do our proudest moments, say the Age of Enlightenment, look from that perspective?
Yeah, that part is really humbling. We celebrate the Enlightenment, 17th, 18th centuries, around birth of modern science, reason, democracy. Feels hugely significant. Maybe 150, 300 years of impact.
Seems like a long time in human terms.
In human terms, yes. But compare it. Earth is 4.5 billion years old. Lifespan around 3.8 billion. Our species, Homo sapiens, may be 300,000 years. Written history, only about 6,000 years.
Okay, I see where this is going.
That whole Enlightenment period, it's a tiny fraction, like 0.005% of recorded human history. Almost statistically insignificant on that scale.
Wow, 0.005%.
He uses this great analogy. If Earth's history is a 24-hour clock, life appears around 4 a.m., dinosaurs dominate late in the evening, from about 10:56 p.m. to 11:39 p.m.
Okay.
Modern humans, we show up at 11:59 and 56 seconds p.m., just 4 seconds before midnight.
4 seconds.
The entire Age of Enlightenment. It's a flash, a fraction of a second before midnight. Burke calls it a spark, brief, bright, and perhaps already fading.
That completely shatters the illusion of centrality, as he puts it. This idea that the universe revolves around us or our history.
Totally. The universe is not waiting for us, he writes. It does not orbit human history. It forces you to consider, well, maybe there are billions of other planets with life out there.
Each having their own little spark.
Possibly. Each their own brief chapter. Our great enlightenment might just be one of countless flickers. Maybe it's just a tentative beginning, or maybe it's destined to be just a footnote. We talk a big game about reason, but often act against it.
So bringing it back to us, here and now, we clearly have immense intelligence. We can split atoms, edit genes, build these incredible artificial minds. What's missing? What's the core challenge?
It seems to come down to wisdom. Burke makes a sharp distinction. We have the intelligence, the know-how. But he argues we have not yet collectively demonstrated the wisdom to restrain ourselves.
And without that wisdom,
our brightest ideas become our most dangerous tools. It's not about more knowledge necessarily, it's about how we use it. The real struggle, he suggests, the battle for this century, is conscious evolution versus unconscious collapse.
Conscious evolution, meaning we need to actively choose a different path.
Yes.
We need to reimagine what it means to be human. Not just clever tool users, but maybe wise caretakers. Guides for the powerful technologies we're creating, not just consumers, or, worse, victims of them.
So it requires, what, a new imagination, one based on compassion, foresight, and restraint. Sounds like a call for a different kind of enlightenment.
I think that's exactly right, a new kind of enlightenment. But this one wouldn't just be about reason or science alone. It would need integration, merging science with compassion, power with humility, speed with stillness.
That sounds profound, a different way of being.
It would have to be. An awakening, a pivot in consciousness, not just another brief flash, but maybe a way of living that could actually last, that could echo beyond our little moment, something worthy of the cosmos, perhaps. What an incredible arc we've covered. This paradox of humanity. Apex predator, capable of such heights, yet holding the seeds of our own destruction.
And the key thing, unlike our ancient cousins, the Neanderthals or Homo erectus, if we disappear, it likely won't be because of an ice age or a predator. It'll be, as Burke puts it, by our own choice.
A sobering thought. Until we make that choice, or perhaps fail to, we remain this bright, brief footnote, a spark in the vast dark, A species poised right on the edge of greatness or perhaps of extinction.
The potential for both is undeniable.
And Dr. Burke's work leaves us, and you listening, with that ultimate question hanging in the air. Who do we choose to become? Thank you for joining us on this deep dive.